I didn't know about the Cerrado itself until I was invited to Brazil to exhibit my Sinking Sundarbans exhibition. And whilst I was there, environmentalists that were at the table talks which accompanied my exhibition really wanted to tell me about an untold environmental disaster which was unfolding. The Cerrado holds around 5% of the world's biodiversity and is roughly 10 times the size of Britain. Yet it is relatively unknown even to Brazilians. The Cerrado is being torn down in the name of Brazil's rapid agricultural progress. The biome is under great threat from enormous monocultures that span thousands of hectares. Single crops such as soya, corn, sugarcane and eucalyptus are having a potential long-term impact on the soil. I mean, this incredible expansion of single crops needs water. The great concern for many is that South America's rivers all source at the Cerrado. Rivers such as the Tocantins, the São Francisco, and also the great Amazon River. A leading Cerrado scientist, Dr. Jim Ratter, told me that one of his main concerns was the future of the Amazon River if we do not address the issue in the Cerrado. Probably one of the biggest threats is also cattle ranching. The fires that local farm workers are starting so they can produce new grass are going out of control. Fires are common and natural in the Cerrado, but not at this great level. The monocultures I have been working on in this first phase of my work have been mostly soya and eucalyptus. With soya, there's huge expansions of the soya monoculture that I went through. And the soya is used mostly in China, the US, and here in Europe for animal feed. Another monoculture that I photographed was eucalyptus. Now, eucalyptus has long been heralded as an environmentally friendly wood. However, pristine Cerrado needs to be cut down in order to plant the eucalyptus in the first place. The eucalyptus is an incredibly thirsty tree that needs large quantities of water in order to help with its incredibly rapid growth, and this water needs to come from natural water sources, which is posing a great problem. In one of my photographs, when I encountered a eucalyptus forest, I found migrant workers employed by the eucalyptus plantation spraying very toxic chemicals onto the ground to kill the root of the eucalyptus. And there seemed to be no monitoring happening to assess the long-term damage to this practice. The attitude seems to be, if it's good for the economy, then it's justified at any cost. Often, farmers would refer to the Cerrado as mato, which means worthless land, no use to anyone. When I worked undercover in the charcoal furnaces of Minas Gerais, which are some of the largest in the world, I was shocked by the level of pollution that was going on there. The charcoal is used for the steel industry in the nearby city of Belo Horizonte. The workers in the furnace were all migrant workers, and they were also important to document. Rural Brazilians have been under pressure to move to the cities with urbanization, and this has been going on for decades. Today in the Cerrado, the push seems to be even more extreme. Large-scale Cerrado farmers are using technology to work machineries without the need of man. Huge combine harvesters are being navigated by satellite, and the farmer needs less and less farm workers. This renders the local population unemployable. Their land has often been in the family for years without any modern legal documentation. One community of river dwellers I documented have lived on their land beside the great Tocantins River for generations. But they were being evicted because their land would be flooded due to the building of a dam which will raise the water level. So huge soya barges can transport soya from the interiors to the coast to be exported They will receive no compensation because they have no documentation that stands up in a Brazilian court of law. Another community called Vereda de Funda in northern Minas Gerais have been entirely surrounded by eucalyptus plantation, and their water supply is under threat. There are also indigenous tribes that live in the Cerrado. The two that I was very fortunate to document are the Apinagé and the Kraol. The Apinagé live in close proximity to outside influence. However, when I met the Kraol, I was very taken back by their pride at keeping their traditions and their way of life. The Kraol, they have a sense of harmony with the land, and I really got an impression of the beauty that the Cerrado really does have to offer. The Kraol refuse to have electricity and still rely on the Cerrado for their survival. However, they are far from removed from the issues that are taking place around their territory. They complain that the local soya industry is polluting their Red River, and during the spraying season, they're suffering from various stomach problems. As well as rotation hunting wild animals with mostly bow and arrow, the Kraol farm vegetables on fertile land on the banks of their river. A nearby dam being built to provide power for the monocultures will flood much of that land. I spent a significant amount of time with the Kraol, and they even baptized me, which was a great privilege. They bathed me and then covered me with tree gum, put feathers all over me in a ceremony. It was quite an honour. I had to spend most of the time with the Kraol almost naked, which was not very fair on them, I suppose. Obviously, logistically, working on an essay on the Cerrado is very difficult to do in one phase. So I'm a firm believer in revisiting the story over many seasons to try and get a good comprehensive view of the Cerrado situation. And I also think it's worth noting that it's important to be objective as possible as well. So it's important to have the opinion and to spend some time with the industrial agro farm managers. I think my main challenge is really trying to get the story to be heard. The fact that next door is the Amazon often overshadows the situation that's going on in the Cerrado. With over 12,000 species of plants, to which 45% are endemic, I think my biggest achievement would be to give the Cerrado the voice and the attention I believe it so richly deserves.